back again. We walked about 37 feet from the last booth. Now we're here with Mr. Tony Gonzalez at Fieldpiece. Want to go through everything that you got, and I also want to call out HVAC Uncensored podcast, Mr. Gil Cavey. I did his podcast a little while ago.
Nice.
He gave y'all about 7 minutes of intro when he should have been saying Field Pulse, introducing me onto his show, but he kept saying Fieldpiece, so I had to say it's Field Pulse, but we got to straighten out with Gil, so you got a bunch of field pieces where there should have been field pulses. So
hey, well, you know what? I'm not going to say no to the publicity.
I know you won't. So I just want to show everybody what you brought to the show in ACCA 2023, man. Go for it.
All right. So, you're probably already familiar with Fieldpiece, but what we do is we design test tools for the heating and HVACR.
Yep.
And we only focus on HVAC.
Okay.
And everything that we design is to help the contractor and the technician do their job easier, faster, and better.
Okay.
So we have a whole wireless system that's called the JobLink system.
Okay.
That is designed to help the contractor monitor the airflow, the refrigerant charge, and the electrical units of an air conditioning system all at the same time, so they get a more accurate diagnosis of the system in a shorter amount of time.
Okay.
And so part of that setup is with our wireless smart probes here that are called the JobLink probes.
Okay.
So you hook up a couple of these pressure probes at the suction line, liquid line, measure your pressures of your system. Then you have some wireless pipe clamps that measure the suction line, liquid line temperature.
Okay.
And then you get calculations of superheat, subcooling on to verify that the system is charged correctly, right?
Okay.
And then you have a couple of JobLink psychrometers that you use to check airflow. So you put them at the indoor unit, at the return and the supply, and then it monitors your temperatures, your humidities, entering and exiting the evaporator coil, calculate your delta T, and it gives you one data point on how the airflow of your system is going along.
Awesome.
And to back that up, you would use a couple of JobLink manometer probes that are designed to measure static pressures.
Okay.
Now, static pressure is one of the most neglected measurements of our industry.
I hear that a lot.
But it is super important. Like, knowing the static pressure allows you to understand more fully whether or not you have properly sized ductwork,
Yes.
whether or not you have a proper sized system, and whether you're meeting the manufacturer's specification so the system is running under static conditions that it was designed to.
So you mentioned manufacturer specs. Are these tools are Fieldpiece's tools what's the word I'm looking for? Engineered in a way that you can be you can send all your readings over to the manufacturer, and they're trustworthy and they're reliable, and they're not gonna question it. Is there that level of trust? Is there that level of engineering that goes into y'all's products?
Yeah. So the great thing about this type of technology is you get all the benefits of a digital tool, which is much more accurate than an analog tool, and it helps eliminate a bunch of the human error of calculation and having to look up charts for different types of things. And so, for example, let's say that a manufacturer sets their total static pressure of their equipment to 0.5 inches of water column, right?
Okay.
What that basically means is that manufacturer is saying that air handler is designed to run most optimum at or below that static pressure.
Yes.
If it's experiencing higher levels of static pressure, then one of two things is going to happen. Either A, it's going to work harder than it has to, which is going to lead to a premature failure, or B, if you or B, it just won't cool the house properly. Mm-hmm. Okay, so either way, it's like not a good scenario. So having the ability to measure these static pressures and knowing exactly what the static conditions are help the contractor not only tune the system properly, but it also helps the contractor sell more of their services. They can show the homeowner, hey, look, this is what the manufacturer says it should be.
Yes.
This is what it's measuring.
Yes.
And these are the reasons why. But you have so many contractor technicians that aren't measuring static pressure, and they're leaving those upsell opportunities on the floor.
Yeah.
And it's just not good for business. It's not good for the comfort of their customer. So having these types of tools helps them not only create a better service for their customer, but increase revenue for their business as well.
That sounds like what we all need.
Right? We can all use that.
So keep moving through the products here. We got, man, all sorts of cool stuff. I see all sorts of fun toys and
yeah. So this is a wireless power clamp meter.
Okay.
Other than a hand tool, a meter is the most used tool by an HVAC technician in the field.
Yep.
Right? They're going to use this to measure voltages all day, compressor amps, fan amps, measure capacitors, all that fun stuff. But we've actually built in features and functions into our meter to help the customer or to help the contractor generate more revenue for their business.
Okay.
One example of that is, you see that little W right there?
Yeah.
W stands for watts, which means that this meter can measure in real time the kilowatt power consumption of that piece of
interesting.
equipment.
Okay.
So how's that useful? Well, let's say I am Mr. Technician, I show up on site, and I'm there to do a maintenance call, right? The first thing I can do is I can go to that system, I can use the meter and measure what is the kilowatt power consumption of that system before I even touch it, right? So you would use your meter, you put it on the W. Now, to get power, you need to measure both volts and amps at the same time.
Yes.
So then you use your test leads at the power going into the outdoor unit, measure your volts on L1 and L2. You clamp your clamp over either L1 or L2 wire, doesn't really matter.
Okay.
And in real time, you get your kilowatt reading right here. Okay?
Wow, okay.
So let's say before like I even do anything, we'll just throw out numbers. Let's say it's 10 kilowatts, right?
Uh-huh.
So then I go and perform my service for the customer. I clean stuff, I do my whole maintenance call. At the end, I can take another power reading and show the customer that their system is consuming less energy now than it was before I did my service. It's a great opportunity for the technician to validate the work they did for their customer.
I got you.
Building that trust that's gonna lead to more revenue going
all
down
with
the
a
line.
freaking shortcut on a meter.
Exactly, right? So, sometimes we talk about business like it's a cold thing.
Yeah.
But I mean, if we're providing a better service for our customer and also generating more revenue for the business, it's a win-win for everybody.
Yeah, it really is.
And that's what we got to train these technicians and contractors, that investing in modern tools will help generate more revenue for them, but also provide a better service and comfort for their customers.
And not to mention the efficiency of being able to set up all these wireless tools, and then you had it sitting out here, it's not here right now, but your phone open up on that Fieldpiece app.
Yeah.
So you can read all these at the same time in one display. And God, the efficiency, the time, that's where you're making money, is saving time.
Yeah.
And come on.
I mean, because you're saving time on the front end and the back end. Number one, you're saving time when you're on site, actually taking the measurements, trying to diagnose the system. That in and of itself is a save time. But because you're looking at the whole aspect of the system, airflow, refrigerant charge, all of that, you get an accurate diagnosis, which means you aren't going to get a call back from that customer to have to come back a week later. That's saving you time.
Yes.
So on the front end and the back end, using a system like this saves you time, increases your revenues.
Cool. Well, thank you so much for your time.
Hey, it was my pleasure.
Yeah, good to meet you.